Okay, just to let you know, I have started as of yesterday recording some of the stuff that happens in class and putting it on Edmodo with the makeup post. Because remember, we don't do makeup back here with the binder anymore. Okay, you get it off of Edmodo. And I don't know if you noticed, but I also put a desktop computer back here, and I have it up and running, and you can log into it and get on Edmodo. And I had them connect all of our cows to the printer in the lounge. So you can come back here and find Edmodo, find the post showing your makeup work. Now, I'm not going to have time to come back here and help you find the post. Okay? It says makeup work for February, whatever. Read. Okay? And then you can print out any documents that you missed, and I'll let you go over to the lounge and get it. Just say, hey, I'm going over and getting my makeup work out of the printer, right? And then you'll be ready to go. Okay? So we are currently recording what's happening in here. So, you'll be able to get on there like, we're going to take notes today. If you don't get everything and you want to listen to the notes again, you can listen to them and you can take notes then if you miss something. Or it'd be good for reviewing for the test. Go get Starbucks turning around the Walmart cycle here on the side. Broken. When is the test? The test is Wednesday. Okay? Walmart stock's right over here. Okay, so since we took time to talk about makeup work and for me to set up the reporting situation, we're going to do a very abbreviated form of this, the jiggles, okay? So, first question is, what is this document that you got at the door? Prove it. What is it?
It's the Washington State's inaugural address.
Yes, exactly. How did you know that?
Because it says it in on the top.
Yeah, duh. Okay, class, speak freely. In what month was this done?
April.
What day?
30th.
What year?
1789.
Yes, it's right there. Do you know what an inauguration is?
Yes.
Yes.
What is it?
When the president gets inaugurated into office.
Okay, well, that's like telling me a baby is a baby. Okay. What is an inauguration? When he gets inaugurated, what happens?
He's accepted like in the office. He takes the
They have
oath.
to
He takes the oath. Yes, yes, yes. It's an official ceremony. Yes. Roden, yes. What?
Oh, that was my answer.
That was your answer. Okay, well, you were right. It's where he raises his right hand and he gives the oath of office, and then he is officially the President of the United States. We had one just like a month and a half ago. So, just be aware of that. Is this a primary or a secondary source? Class, speak freely.
Primary.
Primary, because these are his actual words that he gave at his inauguration. Now, his inauguration was not very fancy. Okay? He spoke in front of, you can see, he says, fellow citizens of the Senate and of the House of Representatives. He just went to Congress and stood in front of them and gave a speech. Now, if you've ever watched an inauguration on TV, there's a lot more to it than that these days. So it's a much fancier, much bigger deal than it was with him. Yes.
See Obama's first inauguration? Like,
Yes.
They had like 12 blocks, 20 blocks filled up.
Yes.
What's flawed?
And, because there's a procession, there's a parade and all this stuff like that. So there's a lot of security, as you can imagine. So they block all kinds of areas off and everything like that. So anyway, that's what we're going to be looking at today. Our goal today is to look at his inaugural address, see what some of the things are that he said in here, because he says some things that are surprising. He says some things that after yesterday are not so surprising, you will find. And I just want you to kind of know what his goals are whenever he goes into this. Then for like the last 10 minutes of class, we're going to take notes on his administration. We're not going to finish them all, but we're going to get some of it done. Okay? And kind of find out some of the things that he did specifically once he gets to be president. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to summarize parts of this. So you'll see your objective for today says summarize. And I've divided it into sections. This is not going to be easy because the English that they spoke in 1789 is nothing like the English we speak in 2013. Okay, it's old English, and these are words that are gonna be like, what? So here's what I'm gonna say to you. What I am asking of you today is for you to honestly try and just do the best you can. And what I found is for the most part, people get very close, right? You may not hit the target right on, but you get very close. And I'll try to help you write these summaries. I'm not going to just lay it out there, but I'm also not going to do it all for you. Okay? I am going to call on you randomly and ask you to read your summaries out loud. This is a safe environment. That's my job to make sure that it is. So please know that it's okay and that you can read this aloud. Now, to prove that this is a safe environment, I also want you to know that exit tickets, I read them. And what I want you to know is that the people that you're sitting with are also taking them seriously as well, and thank you. To prove those things to you, I am going to read like 4 or 5, and I'm going to read the answer to number 4, and I'm only going to read positive answers that I received from number 4. But know that I also received negative answers to number 4, where people told me about certain team members that had not been holding up their end. Okay? So know that it's, yeah, these people you're sitting with are paying attention, and people are paying really close attention, and I appreciate it. If somebody's name is given in one of these, I'm going to refer to them as X. Okay? So I'm trying to send the message of, I'm going to respect your privacy, but I also want it to be clear that I'm reading them. Right.
Will we receive these?
You will get them back, but you won't get them back until next week. And it has your participation grid on it. Okay, first one. We all were always on task and we had no complications and we got all of the evidence together in time, which is awesome. Next one. We were repetitive, such as using the same quotes, but we helped each other with different opinions. And I like that last part. That's great. Okay? The positive thing that happened was that we both worked well together and we both had different examples. So once again, it goes to show you that people are working together. This is a place where when you share your summary, we're going to support each other and be good to one another. X was organized and we worked together well, so we got our work done fast. And that's good. That's what I want to hear. We worked well together and got our work done perfectly. Okay? So that's just a few of them. I'm not going to, of course, read them all. And you will get these back. And the grade's in the computer already. So just know that. Okay? I'm not going to take the time to hand it out. Now let's get to the summarizing of this document. You need to send one person from your group over here to get the summary chart for you to fill in. And get one for everybody in your group, please. And somebody asked me first hour today, can we put our names on our papers today? Of course. So you can most definitely write on these pieces of paper. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to get the inaugural address in front of you. And you can also label your papers. Your article you got at the door is page 17. The summary chart you just got is page 18. And yesterday was 16? I believe so. Look on the board. Okay, so I'm going to read this since it's in Old English. It'll make it easier for you to understand it. And then after you listen, you're going to write your summary and tell me what did George Washington say in this section that I read. And you're going to write your summary in 3 sentences or less. It cannot be more than 3 sentences. So know that that is your requirement that you've got to meet. Also know that this is being given in New York City, that Washington, D.C. does not even exist at this time. So our capital was in New York City and not D.C. Right.
On the one hand, I mean on the other hand.
Right. Right. So some of the things that I've underlined, you need to pay attention to because they either show a shift in thinking or they show something important that he has said that you might want to key in on. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and read number 1 to you, and you listen and be prepared to write a summary. Among the vicissitudes incident to life, no event could have filled me with greater anxieties than that of which the notification was transmitted by your order and received on the 14th day of the present month. Class, speak to me, what is he talking about?
Stressed out.
He's stressed about what?
Being a president.
But what did he receive?
The letter of,
He is referring precisely to that letter that you saw yesterday. Okay? All right, next sentence. On the one hand, I was summoned by my country, whose voice I could never hear but with veneration and love. From a retreat which I had chosen with the fondest predilection, and in my flattering hopes, with an immutable decision, as the asylum of my declining years. A retreat which was rendered every day more necessary, as well as more dear to me, by the addition of habit to inclination, and of frequent interruptions in my health, to the gradual waste committed on it by time. So class, what is his retreat?
He has many problems with his health.
He has problems with health, but what is his retreat?
Vacation.
Right? Well, where is his, what would be his
Mount
vacation?
Vernon.
Mount Vernon. So what he's saying is, I got your note, right? And it's my country speaking to me, right? They've chosen me. And how does he feel about his country?
He loves it.
Right, veneration and love, right? And he says, I received it while I was at my retreat, which is Mount Vernon. And he's saying, I had to go there because my health is declining and it's time for me to essentially take it easy. All right? So, I helped you a whole bunch with that one, didn't I?
Yes.
So right now, and I won't do that again, but I'm trying to be nice because I know this is hard. So right now, write your summary, part 1. And then I'm going to call on somebody to read to me your summary. Do 3 sentences or less, and about a minute and a half to write it. You do it in what, 3 sentences?
She said up to 3 cents.
No. Okay, you got 30 seconds to wrap up what you're writing. Okay, let's see, Dawson West, read your summary for me.
I put that he loves his country for the curriculum, and that it's healthy.
Okay, all right. Mitchell, read your summary for me. Okay, all right, pretty good job. Okay, the next one, the assistance that I'm going to give you is going to be pretty brief. Okay, we're going to start right here. You'll see section 2 labeled on your paper. It starts with on the other hand. So he's stating his other point. Okay, but I want you to key in on some words. Okay, let's see, qualifications, overwhelmed, inferior, unpracticed, deficiencies. So pay attention to those words and figure out who is he talking about and what is he trying to say. Okay? And that's what you need to concern yourself with in your summary. Okay, I'm going to read it to you. On the other hand, the magnitude and difficulty of the trust to which the voice of my country called me, being sufficient to awaken in the wisest and most experienced of her citizens a distrustful scrutiny into his qualifications, could not but overwhelm with despondence one who, inheriting inferior endowments from nature and unpracticed in the duties of civil administration, ought to be peculiarly conscious of his own deficiencies. All right, write your summary in your section 2 part of your summary page.
Nothing on himself.
If you think he's writing about himself, then say that. If you think he's writing about somebody else, then say that. Okay, and what is he saying about that person? Okay, but I want you to do it individually. So go ahead and shut down and write down what you think. We only have time for that, right? Just doing the best you can. Okay, you got 30 seconds to wrap up your statement. so what does George say in the second section? Ethan Tyler.
Well, I think he's writing about himself and how he, in my point of view, is saying that he has little experience on leading a nation. And that's all.
Okay, that's exactly it. Well done. Good job. Okay, he is saying that he's not qualified, that he's unpracticed. You'll see he says in the duties of civil administration. What's civil administration?
Warfare.
No, government. Exactly. Now, he's done war, right? But he hasn't done the government side of things. So he's saying, man, I haven't even done this. I don't even know what this is about, right? And then he's saying he's deficient, right? He doesn't have all that he needs. Okay, Fiddler.
I said, I don't know if this is right or not. I said, he writes about his country, calling him to be president. He was honored that they picked him, even though he didn't have any qualifications.
Exactly. So what you've done is you've given me a summary of part 1 and part 2 all together, right? So, now, does it shock you that this man has said this?
No.
After what we've seen with him? Yeah. It's not a shock that he said, hey, I'm really honored and I love you people, but gosh, I suck. You know, I'm not qualified for this job. Okay? So now we're gonna go to your summary chart where you've been writing your summaries, and I want you to mark out with an X the section 3 summary. We're not gonna do it. Okay? And so now we're gonna go ahead and do the section 4 summary. Okay? And once again, I'm gonna give you kind of a little, I'm gonna tell you to key in on some words here. So, yeah, let me. 4 starts with such being the impression. There we go. So we're gonna start here. Instrument employed in its administration.
There is that charge, to the
Can't
right,
remember, let me look. Yes, the functions allotted to his charge.
to the right. All
To the
way.
right?
Yeah.
All the way to the right.
To
To the right.
Up
Now go to the right.
The line of
To
instrument.
the right. To the right.
Down one line.
Now go to the right.
All the way to the right.
All the way to the right, to the right.
How about only one person?
You know where the end is, that's all that matters, never mind. Thank you, Fiddler, are you gonna mark it for me? Allotted, there it is, thank you. I've looked at it all day and talked about me getting cross-eyed, I'm sorry. I appreciate you trying so hard and being understanding. Sorry if I made you mad. Okay, so the key words that I want you to focus in on here is almighty being, and the B and the A are capitalized. Speak freely, class. Who do you think he's talking about?
God.
Yes, you're the first class that is resound with God. It's God. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to listen to what he says, and I want you to try to figure out what is he saying about God. And try to figure out specifically what he's saying. But if you can't figure out specifically, just try to figure out what you can. Okay? And like I said, just try. That's all I ask today. Is honestly try. And then I'm happy with you. Okay. Such being the impressions under which I have, in obedience to the public summons, prepared to the present station. It would be peculiarly improper to omit in this first official act my fervent supplications to that almighty being who rules over the universe, who presides in the councils of nations, and whose providential aids can supply every human defect, that his benediction may consecrate to the liberties and happiness of the people of the United States a government instituted by themselves for these essential purposes, and may enable every instrument employed in its administration to execute with success the functions allotted to his charge. All right, I'm going to give you about a minute and a half to write down. What is he saying about God? Mm-hmm. Well, if you don't think you get it, then you like do your best. Do your best.
I think I got it.
Okay.
But I'm not positive at all.
You got about 45 seconds to finish, and then I'm going to call on somebody. Okay, Lopez, read your summary for me.
I said that, he said that like God knows everything and that he can do much more than what, you know,
Okay, yeah, I mean, he is kind of calling on God to do something. So he's saying, I believe in God, and it would be wrong for me to leave him out of this discussion, is kind of what he says at the beginning, right? He's almighty, he's in charge of all. I shouldn't omit him. He uses that word omit. To omit something means to get rid of it, right? Or not have it be a part of it, okay? So then, you'll notice that I've circled some words. Consecrate, enable every instrument employed in its administration to execute with success. So he is asking God to do something. Roten.
I said he wishes that everything would be perfect like that was in his hands to be victorious as well.
Okay, getting closer. West.
I said that he is talking about God and how good God is and what he's done for this world. And that God, he's asking God to help him with this election.
Yes.
Or his
Well, with his administration. Fiddler.
Okay, I said, that's how I got it wrong.
Well, that's okay. I mean, read it. Read it.
I said God gave me knowledge and strength to be a president, and God made the voters see George Washington's side to kind of vote for him.
Okay. All right. That's not exactly what he's saying. But no. Let's stop. You tried. And you honestly tried. You didn't write down something about Chuck Norris, and you didn't write down something about aliens. Are you following me here? Okay? So, you keep on doing what you're doing. You were a little off. Pardon me? Yes, please change it if you got it wrong. But here's, I mean, all Lopez, West, and Roten, if you put their answers together, they would be right. Okay? Essentially, he's saying God is powerful, I believe in God, and I'm asking God to consecrate, meaning bless our government, right? And help us, enable us to execute with success. So you'll notice how I'm keying in on words, right? And I'm trying to find the words that are more familiar to us. So when you're looking at something like this, that's what I suggest you do. Don't let the big words blow your mind. What you need to do is look for the words that are the ones that you know, right? And there's some in here that you do. Okay, Wes.
So do you think like the people there that when you say that they understand this? Like I don't understand.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think they do?
Yes, because he's speaking to the Congress, so these are educated dudes,
Okay.
right? And they know what he's talking about. Now, if he was talking to your lower class people, right? Then probably not, because we have not instituted public education yet. So your lower levels, they don't get education, and so they wouldn't have had a clue what he was saying.
Okay, and like, isn't school like in school you're not supposed to pray and stuff? That's not happened yet, is it?
No, but it's going to with the Constitution, and the Constitution's in place and being a
Right now?
functioning. Yes, in this situation right here. Okay? All right, prove it.
Well, wasn't vernacular like, didn't they have common?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So if you wanted
What's that?
to give a speech to a
Vernacular is just the
the
way you
common
normally
language.
speak. Go ahead, prove it.
if you wanted to give a speech to a class, you could.
Yes, yes. And probably if he knew his audience, right, then he would probably change this. But his audience is Congress. So very good, and it's his inauguration. So it's gonna be, this is the most formal kind of speaking that you would have in 1789, if you're wondering. But you probably already figured that out without me having to tell you that. You know, it's the fanciest, you know? Okay, Rosen, quickly.
Why does it say go Washington?
Huh?
Why does it say go Washington?
Oh, that's an abbreviation for George.
Oh.
Okay? All right. So, it's okay. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to your summary chart that you've been filling out and mark out section 5 and mark out section 6. Okay? Now, for time's sake, okay, you may have a little less time than you've been having to write down your summary, so you might want to start writing it while you're listening to me. And I'm going to give you some help on this one because this one is the hardest one. Okay? Now, listen to me, because I misnumbered this in typical Miss Nations fashion because I was tired. You know it. Okay, if you look at the back of the first page, it goes 5, 6, 7, and then there's another 7. Right? And then there's 7 continued on the back, all right, or on the next page. We're going to do the second 7. See the one that's highlighted here? And it will go over to the next page to the 7 continued, right? And I'm marking it on here. It starts with to the proceed. Well, it would help if I had a pen. to the preceding observations, right? All right, and then it stops at require. So this is what I'm going to read to you. But here's what I want you to know. George Washington is asking that he not be given something. And he is saying it to the House of Representatives. Okay? And you're going to want to consider some words in here, like compensation. Okay? All right? And then I'm not going to tell you what it means right now. I want you to listen to it and see if you can figure it out based on context. Okay? And decline to myself. Let's see, what else do we have? Provision, executive department, expenditures, public good may be thought to require. So if you really key in and think about those and listen, and then try to figure out what is he saying he does not want, what is he rejecting, and then you'll write your summary based on that. Okay, here we go. To the preceding observations, I have one to add, which will be most properly addressed to the House of Representatives. It concerns myself, and will therefore be as brief as possible. When I was first honored with a call into the service of my country, and he's referring to serving in the military and leaving the Continental Army there. Then on the eve of an arduous struggle for its liberty, the light in which I contemplated my duty required that I should renounce every pecuniary compensation. From this resolution I have in no instance departed, and being still under the impressions which produced it, I must decline, as inapplicable to myself, any share in the personal emoluments which may be indispensably included in a permanent provision for the executive department, and must accordingly pray that the pecuniary estimates for the station in which I am placed, made during my continuance in it, be limited to such actual expenditures as the public good may be thought to require. So what is he
Is that
rejecting?
why the president gets paid so much less than like captains? I mean, less than captains.
No, it does not. Good question. Okay, all right, go ahead and write down what you think he is rejecting and saying, I do not want. Remember to key in on the words compensation, provision, expenditures. Okay, you're gonna have to finish up and maybe think right, shooting from the hip, okay, if you're not done. Dawson West, did you catch on to what compensation means, you think?
Money.
Money, exactly. Weighty Pat, read your summary for me.
I said that he's talking about how, if he's going to be a president, that, he may only be as good as the public expects him to be.
Okay. I think he's kind of saying that, and then as a result, he is saying he doesn't want something. Prove it. What is it?
He doesn't want the president, he doesn't want good pay, he wants to descend to the middle class, right? He doesn't want to be treated better just because he's the president.
Okay, he doesn't want payments. Yeah. And so you guys are saying the same thing. He's not good enough, right? He wants to be just like any other person, and therefore he doesn't want to get a salary. Fiddler.
I said he doesn't want, he doesn't want the money, but he doesn't want to be thought as a king or a god. He doesn't want all these pleasures.
Okay, all right.
He wants to be treated as middle class.
And I think that is implied in here, right? He wants to send the message of, I am not any different than any of you, right? And therefore, I don't want any money for my service as president. Okay, now, stop and think about this a minute. He has made it very known that he doesn't want to do this, that this is going to be very stressful. How many people did you know in 2013 who, when faced with a difficult job, say, nah, don't pay me? Okay, what most people do, like we had somebody build our deck for us just recently, and we wanted certain special things done, and that person said, okay, now that's going to be more difficult, and that's going to take me a longer time, it's going to cost me.
You should have my dad do it.
Could have. So, anyway, you don't see this very often. The other thing is George Washington was a very wealthy guy. Very wealthy guy. He didn't need this money. But honestly, how many people today who are wealthy just all of a sudden say, you know, I don't need it. Right? So you have this very wealthy individual, because Mount Vernon was a very productive farm, honestly. He was not hurting, okay? And he just said, I will not accept payment. And if you look carefully at this, he didn't accept payment when he was leading the military during the war. He served for 7 to 8 years. So no payment for that service, and no payment for this service. Okay? Hmm?
You just look at true.
And it's just, and okay, now, and you know, Dawson brings up something. We have a tendency to be very cynical now, but there's a reason why, because most politicians don't follow through on what they say, right? So some of you are probably thinking, he probably went ahead and took payment. No, he did not take payment for 8 years of service. He did not change his mind. He did not renege on any of this. Okay? So I cannot say through it that this directly causes the presidency to not be a very lucrative position, but maybe it's an indirect influence on it not being a very lucrative position since he did not take payment. Okay? But it is in the Constitution that he's supposed to, by the way. So, anyway, yes?
I think that this, maybe it may have shown a light or something that maybe what he went through probably kind of made sense, and so they didn't want that much money.
Yeah, maybe, but I can't say for certain.
I mean,
Okay.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Okay, here's what I need you to do. We're not done today, but I need you to put some things up so that they don't get lost. The article is page 17. The summary chart is page 18. Then you need to get out a clean sheet of paper. Okay? Today is a major day of transition. We are going to take notes, and from this day forward, we take college-style notes in here, which means there's no more fill in the blank. You get out a piece of paper, you write it down. You don't get it, right? And you have no textbook in here, so even more reason to be sure that you get it. So get yourself set up for that. This is getting recorded, so the screen is getting recorded, and what I write down is getting recorded. So if you do miss something, you can go back and hear my voice and see what I write down, hear our discussion, and that would be helpful, I'm sure, if some of you have difficulty keeping that. Okay? You need to write at the top of your paper, GW, admin notes. These are page 20, so please go ahead and label them. And turn off the lights so you can see my writing a little better. We are only taking notes for about 5 minutes max. We had a Prezi, but because of the network, it won't show up. But I luckily had downloaded it those days before, so I'm going to actually look at it and then convey the information to you. So this is going to be interesting. I've done it all day. Okay. So now let's find out, what does he do as a president? Okay, the first thing he has to do is he has to design 2 branches of government. How about that for fun? Okay, so to refresh your memory, we have 3 branches of government: legislative, judicial, and executive. Okay? And the Constitution really only says one thing about the executive branch, that there's going to be a president, and that the president is in charge of designing the branch. They also say that there's going to be a court system, and that's what the judicial branch is all about. Okay? And then the legislative branch is really specific, right? That's our lawmaking body. And the legislative branch already exists. So, the House of Representatives and the Senate says to George Washington, you design the other 2. You design this branch and you design this branch. And then you come back to us, show us what you've done, and we will vote on it. And if it passes, it's good. If it doesn't, you'll have to go back and fix it again. Okay? So, the first thing he does is he works on the judiciary branch, interestingly enough. Okay? And he submits it, and his design actually is in the form of a law. It's called the Judiciary Act of 1789, and you will have to know this for the test. And it just creates our court system, and it creates the Supreme Court. Class, have you heard of that before?
Yes.
Okay. This is the highest court in the nation. So, if Maya Koran has a legal battle and she continues to appeal it because she doesn't like the decision she gets, she'll eventually end up at the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court says, Maya Koran, you are in the wrong and you lose, then there's no more appealing, baby, you lose. Okay? What they say goes. He also designs, underneath the Supreme Court, district courts, circuit courts, but really the main thing you need to know is that it is this law that gives us the Supreme Court. Okay? The next thing that he does is he designs the executive branch. And he does a lot of stuff with this. But the main thing you need to know is that he designs a cabinet, and I don't mean the kitchen cabinet. He designs the cabinet, which they are advisors. What I like about George Washington was he was immediately one to recognize that he does not know everything, which should not be a shock to you after what we've looked at with him. Okay? And he knew that he needed men to share their expertise with him to help him make good decisions. So, he created the War Department, and the War Department was led by the Secretary of War. So he would meet with the Secretary of War to talk about the military. Treasury. So there was a Secretary of the Treasury, and he would go to the Secretary of the Treasury to discuss money, budgets, finances. Okay? Secretary of State. That was the person who was in charge of foreign relations. So this is somebody who has great knowledge about the other nations in the world. So, and be aware, we've got to really watch out about Britain, okay, after all this. So that's our big concern, them in France. So this person would help with foreign relations. Then there is the Attorney General. He is the nation's lawyer. So if George Washington needs legal advice, he goes to the Attorney General. And then finally, and we're going to put this one up here, the Postmaster General. Yes, I mean the mail. Which today I know that the mail is not really that important, and sometimes we make fun of it. God bless it. But remember, in 1789, the only way you communicate is to talk to somebody face to face or to write a letter.
But is there still a Postmaster General?
There still is a Postmaster General.
Oh, that.
Okay? So, the Postmaster General is really a very important post at the time. Know that in 2013, the President's cabinet is way bigger than this. I mean, they're advisors for the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Energy, okay? I mean, it goes on and on. The Department of Education, the Department of Agriculture. So, you know, as we have grown as a nation, the cabinet has grown. But it was very, very basic. But, I mean, you can see these are the things he needs to know about, make decisions about, so he picks advisors for that. Okay, now, here's what we got to do. We're going to finish the rest of this on Monday. So, put these notes where they need to be, page 20, and then it's exit ticket time. So, you know that means you need to move quickly, you need to get away from your teammates. So those of you who were not here yesterday, maybe have people help you out with that. Yes?
We need to know what it is